In problem 4-7A, we're just looking at the adjusted trial balance for Lloyd Construction, and our first task is to prepare an income statement. Now, the type of income statement I'm going to prepare is called a single-step income statement, and this is where we just list our revenues, subtotal those, list our expenses, subtotal those, and then take the difference, and that will tell us if we have a profit or a loss. Now, before I actually start making the income statement, what I thought I would do is just highlight off the trial balance the accounts that are going to go on the income statement. So I'm just going to look through all of my revenue accounts, and it looks like they've lumped them together. So I have professional revenue and I also have rent revenue. So I'll just call those highlights revenue. Now remember, unearned revenue is not a revenue account. That's a liability account that goes on the balance sheet. So that one's not included. And then I'll subtotal all of my expenses. And it looks like they put all of my expenses together. So a good thing to keep in mind is if it says expense at the end, then you can almost guarantee it goes on the income statement as an expense, with the exception of prepaid expenses. Prepaid expenses is an asset, and that goes on the balance sheet. So I'll call these expenses. Now, you could also get a problem that scrambles the chart of accounts. So I've seen it before where they list all of the accounts in alphabetical order. Then you would have to go through each one and decide what is a revenue and what is an expense. So now that I have these categorized, I can go ahead and start putting together my income statement. Okay, so we always start our statement with the name of the company. So this is Lloyd Construction. And then we tell the user which financial statement it is. So in this case, this is the income statement. And then we tell the user which period we're using. So this is for a full year, and the year ended is December 31st. So you say for the year ended December 31st, 2020. Now here is where we're going to list our revenues. And what I've been told is to list everything from the biggest revenue to the smallest revenue, and the biggest expenses to the smallest expenses. In real life, we usually just do them alphabetically. So I'll just do it from biggest to smallest. So I'm looking for my professional revenue. And that was the 199,480. So as I use it, I'll just tick it off, because once you use it, then you don't use it again. And now my only other revenue was the rent revenue. And that was 22500. And I'll just tick that off. So now this template already subtotaled that for me, so that's great. But that number is the 199,480 plus the 22500. Now I have operating expenses, and I'm going to do them from highest to lowest. So my biggest operating expense was my wage expense, and that was 63,300. And it's just this one right here. And then my next highest is the depreciation expense for the building. So I'll do that one next. So depreciation expense building, 19300. And I'll check that one off. And now my next highest looks like it's insurance expense. So I'll put that one next. So I'll find insurance expense, and that amount is 17300, and I'll just go back and check that off. And then the next one is supplies expense for 12,100. So I'll go into supplies expense, And I said that was 12,100. And now it looks like depreciation expense building is the next highest, so I'll put that one in. So depreciation expense equipment. I meant to say equipment. I can't remember if I said that or not. That was the 7,300. So I'll check that one off. And now it looks like I have utilities expense for 6,500. So utilities expense, 6,500. And I only have 2 more left. So I have telephone expense next for 3,700. Telephone expense, 3,700. And last but not least, my interest expense of 540. So I just checked that one off. So interest expense, 540. So now this total operating expenses just subtotals all of the expenses that I listed here. And now I have revenues higher than operating expenses. So when that happens, it's called profit. And I'll take the difference. So take 221,980 minus 130,040. That gives me 91,940. If you had operating expenses higher than revenues, then you would call that a loss. And let's just check my work just to make sure it's okay. All right, so the income statement is complete.